Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you? This is Kenneth Overton, your host of Black Opera Live, which is sponsored by Black Opera Productions, LLC, the production company that is going to bring you the phenomenal documentary later on this year entitled Black Opera. We are so excited and continuing to be hard at work to bring you something really special. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about my guest today. But first, I want to remind you to go and sign up for our podcast. Black Opera Live is now a podcast. So wherever you go and listen to your podcast entertainment, you can now find us. So go on and get you some Black Opera Live in your podcast life. Over 100 plays we've had so far for a brand new podcast that's amazingly encouraging, and new episodes come out every Wednesday. So make sure you check us out on there and go to our Spotify page. Black Opera now has a Spotify page where we are gathering and collecting so much music out there that features and celebrates the music and art of Black artists. So go to Spotify and then go check us out in your podcast world. Okay. I am so excited. Today, my guest, my goodness, is a dear sister friend of mine. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. And if you're wondering, this gorgeous neck piece she made just for me. It's one of her many talents, and one of the many pieces that I have in my collection of hers. And I suggest you go and get yours, and we will talk about where you can go and do that during our interview tonight. But she is here, and I'm going to tell you just a bit about her. Angela Brown, baby, personifies the ideal soprano. Sheer vocal power, luxurious finesse, and shimmering high pianissimos. With a charming personality larger than life, she unites opera, pops, and gospel in one sensational voice, and has graced the leading opera and symphonic stages across 6 continents. Y'all count them. Not 1, not 2, not 4, but 6, baby. A featured artist on the 2-time Grammy Award-winning recording, Ask Your Mama, Angela's international reputation continues to grow. Her highly successful Metropolitan Opera debut in the title role of Aida captured instant attention from the international print and broadcast media and catapulted Angela onto the world's prestigious headlines, baby. Headlines from the New York Times read, "At last in Aida," because we have been waiting. We have been waiting for some time, and at last we got her. And CBS Weekend News proclaimed, "The future of opera has arrived," followed by features on the front page of the New York Times, on CNN, in Oprah Magazine, in Essence Magazine, Ebony Magazine, Classical Singer Magazine, Reader's Digest, and Psychology Today. While opera has been the main catalyst for her career, Angela's performances and her experiences include everything from star MC to producer, recording artist, podcast host, and program creator. Her most fervent endeavor is the founding and advancement of Mourning Brown Incorporated, a nonprofit with the mission of bridging the gap between accessible live music programs and underserved individuals, schools, and communities. Drawing on the success of her groundbreaking show, Opera from a Sister's Point of View, Mourning Brown works to bring cultural experiences and awareness to cultural deserts. In 2020, she launched a new podcast with classical music indie and co-host Joshua Thompson titled Melanated Moments in Classical Music. The first season landed in the top 10% of all podcasts for listeners and won Best Black Music Podcast of 2020. And season 2 premiered just this month. Get your life together and start listening to Melanated Moments in Classical Music. Other milestones for Angela include singing on the Grammy Award-winning recording of Ask Your Mama, composer Laura Cartman's setting of the poem by Langston Hughes of the same title, and co-starring in the new American opera Charlie Parker's Yardbird in the 2015 world premiere performance with Opera Company of Philadelphia. She reprised the role of Addie Parker in historic performances at the Apollo Theater, New York City in 2016, and for the Lyric Opera of Chicago and Madison Opera, and in London at the Hackney Empire in 2017. Early career high points include her collaboration with American composer, my good buddy, Mr. Richard Danielpour. Her early success as Aida was immediately followed by world premiere performances of Richard Danielpour's opera Margaret Garner in the role of Scylla with Opera Company of Philadelphia, Cincinnati Opera, and Michigan Opera Theater. Miss Brown's previous solo appearances include, but not limited to, the Metropolitan Opera, the National Opera of Paris, Bilbao Operas in Spain, Teatro La Fenice, Hamburg Opera, the Vienna Staatsoper, Cape Town Opera, Deutsche Oper Berlin, Opera Company of Philadelphia, Cincinnati Opera, Michigan Opera. Listen, the woman works. She's busy, she's booked, and we're going to talk about how she stays booked as we talk during this interview. And y'all know I like to play receipts. And before we bring her in, I'm going to just give y'all a little taste before we get started with the talking. So secure your wigs, put extra pins or glue, whatever you use, because the voice, the presence, and the brilliance of Angela Brown will be coming your way right after this. She's here, everybody. Welcome, Angela Brown, to the Black Opera Live set, baby. How you doing?
Oh, Kenny, I am wonderful. Highly blessed by the best. Thank you for having me.
I know that's right. Well, the folks are already in the room sending love. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Gary. Hello, Miss Barbara. Greetings from Indianapolis. How are you? Ah, yes, Miss Beth. Yes, she is amazing. You are correct. You are correct. I love what I love you, Sister Lori. I love you, love you.
Didn't he read that bio, child? It was like this. Who are you talking about? She's fabulous. She's fabulous.
Oh, yes, Damon. She is awesome. She really, 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 really is. Opera from a sister's point of view was at the yes, we're going to talk about that, how she's expanded that. Just fantastic what she's doing. Hey, Lyndon, how are you, good sir?
Hey,
how are you? And Larry it's so good to see you, Larry.
Larry, he was there. That's my boy. Now, Larry will travel, okay?
Larry will travel and come support. We love that. Y'all, Larry, I want you to go to Opera America and teach a class on how to be supportive to the arts because you got it down. You got it down, brother. My brother Kevin Short is in the house, always here. It's so good to see you, Kevin. So good to see you. Joshua Allen.
Melanated moments. Melanated moments.
I love it. I love it.
Hey.
It's good to see you, sister, and I'm so glad you're here. This is my last show in the month of March, which was Women's History Month. And what better way to close it out than with a woman who makes so much history every day, every single day. It's an honor to have you here, my dear.
Thank you.
Honor, honor, honor. So let's get started. Tell us where you're from and how on earth did classical music and opera insinuate itself into your life?
Well, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I always say that opera chose me. I didn't choose it. I never considered myself being a screechy soprano. And hopefully I'm not so screechy now. I did a lot of different genres of music before I even touched classical music. So it was, of course, gospel. Growing up in my grandfather's Baptist church at 5 years old, singing "You Can't Beat God's Given No Matter How You Try."
Okay.
I'm the only one to know the verses to that, okay? While they pass while you are marching around the church to put in your money for tithe and offering. And actually, my very first time singing was with my older brother who had a little stage fright. He had a part it was either Christmas, I think it was the Easter cantata. He had to sing "Down at the Cross," and he was scared to walk down the aisle. I said, "Oh, I'll go with you, Anthony." I grabbed his hand. I was just supposed to be walking down there. Here I go, "Down at the cross." And I know he was like, "This was my light to shine, and you just took it, sis." But
so did you come from a musical family?
Well, my mother was a singer. Okay. She was a soprano. And she was my grandfather's daughter. And so she would sing for granddaddy and stuff in church. And they thought that she would be the next Marian Anderson because that was the only person they had at that time to compare her voice to, though she was a soprano. But it was because of Marian Anderson's prowess, of course, at the time. And she did attend, she got a scholarship to the Jordan School of Music that's at Butler University here in Indianapolis. And she just went a semester, but it wasn't for her. And she decided to marry my daddy and have us. Because that's what you did in the 60s. You got married, then you had them babies, Right. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so opera chose you. Now, did you go to school to study voice and opera, or did you go to study something else and then you fell sort of into the musical education aspect of it? And then where did you go to school?
Well, it's kind of all of that. I went, I have always sung. I've always known that I would be on somebody's stage. I just didn't know what genre of music. And like I said, opera was the very last thing that I touched. So I went to IUPUI. I went to, which is Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis. Didn't do well there. Then ended up going to Ivy Tech and got a secretarial science degree. Then went on to Oakwood University, where I first started to study music for the first time. And I was like a 21-year-old, okay, starting as a freshman, because most freshmen start as, 18. So I was an older student going back to school. And while I was there, I was studying with Ginger Beasley, who has a school of music there in Huntsville now called Ars Nova School of the Arts. And so she would take her students, her studio to Indiana University and study with Virginia Zayani. And the first time Ms. Zayani heard me, she says, she looks at Mrs. Beasley, snatches her glasses off and goes, "Ginger, Angela is not a mezzo soprano," because at that time, that's what I was singing. She's like, "She is not a mezzo soprano. She is a Verdian soprano. Darling, the blood of Verdi courses through her veins." Then she looks at me and she goes, "Angela, when you are done with Ginger, I'll take you in my studio." And that was back in 1991. And she was married to the great bass, Nikolai Rossi Lemani, who was the one that actually discovered Maria Callas.
Wow.
And I remember meeting Mr. Nikolai in that. It was another. I think it was master class that we went up for, and I sang something from Cosi fan tutte, and I breathed in the middle of a word or at a place that wasn't programmed, and and then I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." He looked at me, he was like, "Honey, you gotta breathe, breathe." He was like, "We don't want to see you dead on the stage because you
Okay.
decided that little check mark in the music was more important than breathing breath." So
Hello.
I learned, you can take expressive breaths, but yeah, that's how it all kind of started.
Maybe you know the secret, and I hope that you will share it with me. Every woman in particular, the men too, but every woman that I know that is a friend of mine who has gone to Oakwood can sing.
Mhm.
What is that about?
The anointing. That's what it's about. Because everybody at Oakwood, the reason why they can sing, they can either sing or they can preach.
Okay.
That's what that school is about. Coming in to learn to depart to serve. And
Yeah.
so a lot of them, they came straight out the church, and that's what they did. They either preached or they sang. You know,
Yeah.
it's just kind of what it is. Been sprinkled with the goodness of God over there.
I
So
love it. I knew it had to be something to it because everybody, but you and Angelique Clay Everett and Gerald and Brandy and I
yeah.
mean y'all just singing.
Mhm.
My goodness. Hey Paula, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Miss Paula. I met Paula the first time in Indianapolis. She's telling this story. Dr.
Mhm.
Ricky Little brought me up to from Huntsville to audition because Indiana's my home state, but
Yeah.
I was in school at the time, and so he brought me up to audition for Indiana University, and we went over to Miss Paula's house and spent some time with her. So that was the first time I met her back in 1991.
Wow. And Ricky Little, that's my baritone section partner in when I first joined the American Spiritual Ensemble.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's my buddy right there.
that was Doc. We called him Babaloo. Babaloo, because he was my teacher at Oakwood. He was my choir teacher, Aeolians. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Wow.
how we go back. Child, I got a story about Dr. Little. He'd be like Angela. And I'm like, well, honey, you did it. We were in choir, and Dr. Little is beautiful. Okay. I'm sorry, the man is beautiful. He came in, he had all these European clothes, different designs and stuff. So he had on this ruffly shirt, okay, and it was open to yay. This is Oakwood College at the time, school of God and everything. He coming in there busting out a little chest hair. Honey, the whole soprano section was like this. And I just had to tell him after class, I was like, you want to put on some clothes, brother. We can't, we are not concentrating on where to put the T, or where to take a breath, because we are taking breaths because we looking at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got your treats all out for us and we distracted.
Being distracted, y'all.
Hello, Miss Eleanor. The anointing is needed in all you do to be. Amen to that. Amen to that. You are so right. You are so right. Mm-hmm. So then after then Oakwood, what happens? You go then to Indiana to work with Madame Zayani, and then she turns you into this Verdi and Puccini soprano, and then what happens?
Well, it sounds like that was magic. I was an older student when I went back to school. So whatever I had it from the time I was at Oakwood. I just didn't know how to hone all this, to hold and make it. But I had it because I was telling my age now, and I don't care because I look fabulous. I was 21 when I went to Oakwood, and when I graduated, almost 22. And when I graduated, because I graduated with 2 degrees, a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Art, I was like 26, 27. Okay. I was there an extra year or so. And went on to Indiana University. And I remember being there for 6 years. And just because I just didn't know what to do with this, even though I was singing, I did a lot of singing for the university.
Okay.
Dean Charles Webb of the School of Music at Indiana University. And it wasn't until my last year I go in and I say to Miss Zayani, Miss Zayani, I'm just not sure if opera is for me. Because I just still didn't feel comfortable in those clothes. And I was like, I think I want to be a concert singer. I'm thinking more like Marian Anderson or whatever. She looks at me. She says, Angela, she slams her glasses on the piano. She says, if you want to be the next not Roberta Flack, but Aretha Franklin. That's what she said. If you want to be the next Aretha Franklin, go. You need no more lessons. But if you want to be the best Verdian soprano this world has ever seen, you must work. I was like, Lord have mercy. It's a beautiful thing for someone to believe more in me than I did.
See?
So that kind of gave me the chutzpah.
Yeah.
The want to go further and to see what the end was going to be. So I did a lot of competitions.
Okay.
At Indiana University, a lot of competitions. And a good girlfriend of mine, Angela DeVerger, because we were at Indiana at the same time. She was like, when I do competitions, I don't go in there to try to win first. I go in there just to try to win something. She said, so that you can keep on, building on. So instead of what she said to me, said to my brain, don't put that pressure of number one on your brain, because even if you don't win first, a lot of people that win first, you never hear from them again.
Poof.
Poof, pal, be gone. But because who won American Idol the year that Jennifer Hudson won fourth?
Right.
Who won? Well, and then Fantasia won first. But anyway,
that was the year that they had her and then the other black girl that they put all three of them against each other. Jennifer, Fantasia, and I can't remember her name, but I loved her voice. And they were all in the bottom three on one episode.
See? So it just went to show me that, winning is a great, wonderful thing, but I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to save up a little something, and keep on studying.
Yeah.
So that I can do what it is that the Lord would have me to do with my career. So,
yeah. Now, after getting all these checks from these various competitions, what was or can you pinpoint the moment or the competition or the person that heard or saw you that then took you to the next stage of your career and actually getting you onto stage to do roles?
Well, I have to say that it was the Metropolitan Opera competition. And let me tell you, it wasn't because I won the first time. I was too stupid to stop. I did that competition at Indiana University 4 times.
Wow.
Okay. I won the districts each time because that was my home area. I kind of figured that, I can at least get to be one of the ones placed in the districts. Then I would always get stopped at the regionals because this area is very hard to get through because you have CCM, you have University of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a student come up one time, Greg Teray, with his fabulous knocked me off of my precipice, with his freshness coming in, messing up the curve. So it just took a long time for me to get out of the regionals. But that one time, you only takes once. I sang in Cincinnati. And that year, I want to say, and she would have to tell me if I'm wrong, I want to say it was Indra Thomas.
Okay.
Maybe she wasn't at that one, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I want to say that's where I met Indra the first time. She got sick and had to drop out of the competition. And the flu was going around really bad. And I was sitting there with my, feeling fine, but staying away from everybody. And I was like, well, Lord, I didn't mean for people to get sick, but slay, Jesus. So people started, dropping out of the competition. So I won that year. I did a little shout on the stage. People would tell you, Angela Brown actually did a good old Baptist Kojic shout on the corner of the stage. And I don't have a shout, but honey, I was bucking. Okay. I finally got to the Metropolitan Opera, to the finals. Okay. This is when they still had 23. It was 23 singers. Wow. And there were 3 pages of singers, and 33 was the cutoff. Yes. I was 33. I was on the 3rd page, and I was in the middle of a 33-year-old and another 33-year-old. I said, I don't know about numerology, but I was like, slay, Jesus, slay. So I was like, do that, you know. And just so happens I won. And that's when they still had 10 winners. Okay. So I think I'm the reason why they changed all that stuff up.
Right. They lowered the age. They lowered the age.
And they lowered how many do it and all that stuff. But I did it, and like I said, I was too stupid to stop. And from having that opportunity, I then was called to do an audition for Main Stage.
Okay.
And I moved to New York. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, I moved to New York and I auditioned for extra money. I wasn't calling myself auditioning for a role at the Met. I just wanted extra, because if you had won the competition, you can, you know, come back and get additional funds to help in your career in some kind of way, whether that's to buy a dress, to get your teeth whitened, to have gastric bypass, whatever. I did it all. But I was gonna be a star, okay? So I went back to audition for this money. And after I sang, whoever was, and I can't remember her name right now, but I was like, may I get a glass of water? And she said, if you keep singing like that, you can have anything you want. I said, okay. Now I'm standing on a raked stage down at sea level. So I'm here with some 4-inch heels on. Knees are shaking. It was crazy. So anyway, I sang my next aria and I left. Mm-hmm. They called me again. They said, we want you to sing for the head vocal coach at the Met. And I was like, okay, they want you to prepare Ariadne and Aida. I said, okay, thinking they wanted to go over both of them. I had them both. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. So I go in and he's just going through bits and pieces of each aria, how, you know, listen to how I approach and all that stuff. And we're in one of those little tight rooms. You know how tight those rooms at the Met. And so I'm singing. And then he says, okay, thank you. He closes up his books and gets his little satchels, standing up, getting ready to leave. I grabbed him by the shoulder. I said, wait a minute. What does that mean? He's like, well, someone will be in touch with you. I said, wait a minute. What does that mean? Because if you hire me, I'll make you proud. He was real tall. He looked down at me. He says, you know what, Angela? I think you would. And to say the least, after that, they did hire me. And I was covering the role of Aida for, I want to say, Janet can give you all the deets, but I want to say it was 2001 season.
Okay.
At the Met. And so that was kind of the beginning. And then, you know, June is busting out all over in 2004. And that's a whole nother story.
Right. I love it. And so now that you have brought us to Aida, I want to share a little bit of a receipt of you singing a bit of this incredible role. And thank you, Janet, for sharing this video with us. Hold on.
trema e scarne faccia sul cavatulle vo come tre ravvisarà ti maladi e non sei mia figlia e faroni tu sei la schiava.
Sing, girl. Go on and sing that thing.
Baby. But I'm sorry. I'm sitting here looking at the thing. Y'all give me some hearts on that Greg Baker chest. Okay. Okay. I mean, he was my daddy, but okay. They had to tell me now, Angela, when you're playing his daughter, you can't be caressing his glistening chest. You know?
And you know what? It's so unfair because I find that music so sensual right there.
But no, it's the way you got to play it. You got to be, you can't be putting your hands on your daddy's chest. I had to work that out.
Listen, I love it. I love it. And you sang that thing. Now, this opens up so much more of the things that I want to talk to you about. One, this role of Aida. Mm-hmm. Did you, at the beginning or during the time when you were doing Aidas everywhere, did you have any sort of hesitation with doing it and being pigeonholed into just singing Aida?
No, not at all. This is Aida, the African princess of Ethiopia.
Yes.
No, not at all. It's funny, Kenny, I never thought, because Aida is a Black subject opera.
Yes.
That on African subject opera, that it was pigeonholed, because check out, I'm Black.
Okay.
That's perfect for me.
Okay.
Perfect. You know, I never thought of it as a problem.
Gotcha. And so my next question is again also about Aida, because we know, unless you under a rock somewhere, that Leontine Price was one of probably the greatest Aidas of all time. Mm-hmm. Did you hear or feel the ghost or the spirit being compared to her in this role?
Yes, and I loved it.
You loved it. How did you turn? Because listen, some people, it can cripple you. It can cripple you right up in your throat, because people try and imitate or emulate or compare themselves to her, or listen to the critics and all of that in comparison, and it can hurt you. How did you harness it to make it work for you?
I saw it all as positivity. I didn't go and search through, the time she had a bad moment and on what the critics said about her, because that was her. what was happening to her. It had nothing to do with me. I was inspired by her, but I never
Yes.
tried to be her. And that's what I tell students all the time: be inspired, because they'll, oh, I want to be just like you. Then who am I going to be if you being me? Be the
Right.
best you can be, sugar. You can be inspired by me. So no, I never saw it as a problem. I never saw it as being pigeonholed. I never took being compared to Leontine Price as a problem. That was like, thank you. Can I have some more, please?
Right.
I loved it. Still love it.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. It's a brilliant way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you shared that. I'm so glad you shared that. Now, going into what people call the hallowed halls of the Metropolitan Opera, and covering this role and then eventually doing it, what was that like? What did that feel like? What do you remember from the time they said, okay, Angela, you're going on, you're doing it?
Ooh, first of all, I'm gonna take it back just a wee bit, and then I'm gonna get there. After I won the Metropolitan Opera competition and we had to do the winner's concert.
Yeah.
One of the stage managers, we all got a chance to go out and feel the stage, and feel the hall and what the hall would feel like with our voices. And so the stage manager allowed us to go out and walk the floorboards that all of the greats had walked on. And I felt the silk curtains. And I was saying to myself the whole time, I'll be back. I'll be back. Skipping ahead to when I came back as a cover, I was covering Debbie Voigt, okay. And she's a lot of fun. That girl's a lot of fun. And so I'm covering her, and I'm mirroring her on the stage, because as a cover, you do not get a chance to actually step on the stage to do any rehearsals. Okay, you do all of your rehearsing on sea level. All right. So they wanted me to follow her around to see the entrances, the exits, how she has to go up the stairs in the third act, and then how she gets in the elevator to go down for the fourth act. They wanted me to see the whole shebang.
Yes.
And at the very beginning, when they pull that wall back and Aida comes out with that fan, it's very shallow, but from the audience standpoint, it looks vast and big. So they wanted me to see everything. I remember standing backstage, and I walked up behind Miss Voigt, and she turned around. I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. I'm just mirroring you. She was like, baby, don't worry about it. You think I'm back here going, I am Aida, I am Aida, I am Aida. She's like, no, I'm just waiting to go on, So she put me at ease to let me know that she is playing a part and she's got a job to do. So just be ready for your job. So what I definitely credit the Met doing for me is allowing me to embrace, to breathe in the atmosphere so that I could do my job at a high level and not be afraid because of that. There's a whole lot of other things to be afraid of. Okay. Now, when I did get my opportunity to go on and use my cover, that wasn't with Miss Voigt, it was with another soprano, but I remember my debut was October 29th, 2004. Well, I think it was a day or so, or a few days before, I had to go on and actually use my cover for a soprano who was ailing during her show. And so there was 30 minutes time lapse between each act. Aida, the Zeffirelli, is a tour de force, and it's an all day, almost all night, you better bring a snack kind of show. So you have 20 to 30 minutes in between each act. So they called me. I happened to have been in the ladies' dressing room with Angela, talking, laughing, yucking it up, when I should have been in the green room where I should have been. I heard the voice, Angela Brown, please report to the artist area. I ran through the dock where the horses were. I got to the artist area, and I'm like, what's going on? They said, she's not going on for the fourth act. You need to go and get your costume on. And I was like, but I knew she said, they said, go to the room next door. And I was like, but she's in there. She'll hear me warm up. I'm feeling like, oh, well, I don't want her to feel bad. They're like, get in there and do your job. I was like, okay. And I got getting it together, honey, and threw that wig on, and I had my costume and everything, and I didn't have to worry about makeup because I already was made up, and I'm born with the makeup of Aida. And I went out there and I did the fourth act.
Now, how is that different? Explain to the folks, especially all the singers out there, how is it different from getting a call and saying that you're going on to do the whole show than to get a call over the loudspeaker and say you're going to do an act of a show? What does that do to the mind, the voice? Because some singers like to warm up through a role. And, that fourth act of Aida is high, it's floaty, it's, all of the rest of it. What's the difference for you?
Well, for me, and this is not a bragging thing, I was born to sing Aida. And I did not have the problems of accessing my upper register and the float. It's there. God gave it to me. It's there. Yes. I knew the role forwards and backwards, forwards and back, forward, as Janet would say, forwards and backwards. I had no fear of knowing that I could hit my mark.
Yes.
Hit the light and use the voice. The fear may have come in just because I'm going to be out on the Metropolitan Opera stage. And I don't think I got scared till afterwards.
Wow.
I did it. And I mean, because you do your job. And that's what I have always, and I've always led with. You want me here because I can, not because I think I can.
Yes.
It's because I can, and I can, because you hired me. So I can't say I got fearful to do it, but I was definitely very nervous after. Yeah. And I think that was all adrenaline and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I was ready with no opportunity than to have the opportunity and not
be ready. Baby, that's a word for the folks. Write that down, singers. Write it down. Amazing. Now, you touched on something right before we played the Aida video. Mm-hmm. And it was back when you thought you were just auditioning to get some extra funds to use for whatever. Mm-hmm. And you said that you used it for the teeth, you used it for gastric bypass, you used it for all of that. Mm-hmm. When you made the decision to have gastric bypass, mm-hmm. were there concerns on the outside, meaning the team for Angela, mm-hmm. and you on the inside? Is this going to mess up my moneymaker? Mm-hmm. How am I going to bounce back? Like, what went into your decisions to make such a pivotal decision?
I want to live.
Amen.
Because if you have no breath in your body, you have no voice anyway. I said, bump all this mess. I want to live. Now, I didn't have any of those predetermining factors. And let me make this clear. Mm-hmm. That didn't pay for that.
Okay.
Daddy's insurance from when he passed away paid for that.
Gotcha.
You could, because you only got $5,000 if you, at that time, to come back and audition for extra monies to help in your career. And you could apply it to those things. So the Met did not pay for that. Let me make that very clear. But since the gastric bypass was brought up, and it is something that should be thought about long and hard.
Yes.
Before you make a decision to cut your body, redirect your insides.
Yes.
For it to do something unnatural.
Okay.
So that you can be svelte on the outside. Now, with the gastric bypass, works for a lot of people, and it did work for me. But once you stop doing, you got to change here.
Yes.
Okay. And once you stop doing what can keep you from gaining the weight, you're going to gain the weight back. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I have kind of chunked back up a bit, but I'm still cute. And I still feel good. All right. But it is a decision that you have to pray about. You have to talk to your family physician about, because all my doctors was like, yes, 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 because I was quite large. And when I was singing with Greg, that was like one of, I have a funny story about that if you want to hear it.
Of course.
I was covering, that was in Philadelphia, that Aida.
Yeah.
And I remember coming to jump in to cover a ailing Leonora in Il Trovatore. So I was still my nice hefty self. And there is a part where Count de Luna picks up Leonora and takes her off to rape her or whatever. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, Greg and I had gone through our staging because I had one afternoon to learn the staging because I jumped in because she got sick.
Wow.
And so I came down from New York and I went through all the staging and everything. And we had decided that there were going to be no lifts. Okay. No carrying off. I was just going to be drug off. Okay. I don't have a problem with, messing up people's, futures and children. So, I did everything I was supposed to do. Greg was so proud of me. Greg is like my daddy in this business. Okay. Every role I have ever really done, I've done it with Greg Baker.
Wow.
So he was so proud of me. He said, "Come on, big baby," in my ear, low enough, after I finished singing, we had finished singing the duet. So he swoops down and picks my behind up 278 pounds. Okay. Now I'm up like this. Then I decide, well, I've got to act. I can't be holding on to him like he's my lover. He's getting ready to take me away. So I decided to do some acting. And I went, oh, and he went, oh, Lord Jesus. He didn't say that, but that's what it was looking like. The audience went, and it got quiet. Then Greg took one foot, one step, then another step. Then he started walking out the stage. The whole audience went, whoa! They were screaming and hollering. Honey, we were screaming and hollering off the stage. We were going, we did that, high-fiving. I was like, yeah.
Wow.
Be like that.
Wow.
But, it's something else to alter your body.
Yeah. And so we have a question here from a fellow singer. David, how are you? Can you talk about how your breath support changed? I've lost 150 myself and still trying to figure all of that out.
I have to say that after I lost the weight, I had to figure out where my support was. And it was actually lower than I thought. It was lower than I thought. Because when you are heavy, you got all of you to support with. So
Right.
It's a false feeling almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah. So it's lower. Think of your support between with your thumb. Take your thumb, put it in your navel, and let your hand go like this. Above the pelvic bone. That's where you support. Okay. If you were supporting anything higher, that's why. And you want to do some crunches so you can start to feel your support. The crunches are or the muscle that you use to go to the bathroom, pinch it off, whatever, that all that area.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had to go back and do some studying. You have to get back in the studio. I know when you're a busy singer and you're learning roles and you don't have a lot of time or opportunities to get back to your teacher, you have to find someone that you trust that has a good ear and that can help you find your support again. And for me, that was Dr. Everett McCorvey at the University of Kentucky. I went to him, and because I also went to my teacher, Virginia Zayani, but she had, of course, retired and she's in Florida and, life goes on. So that's who I ended up working with. So good luck to you, brother. But yes, think about your support. It's lower than you think.
Yeah. See, you saving lives today. You saving lives today. So
out, baby.
Now tell the folks, what is it like to see yourself on the front page of the New York Times with the caption "At last in Aida"? How does one walk on the ground again and not let it affect you in a negative way? How did you handle the press, the expectation, all of that came with
Atlanta.
doing this? Yes.
Kenny, I have to be honest. As I was too stupid to stop, I also didn't internalize all that. It wasn't until years later, when you are in the storm
Yes.
or in the eye of the hurricane, okay, and stuff is swirling around you, you just trying to hit your marks. You're
Yes.
trying to do the work. You're just trying to show up and be excellent and do what it is that you have been studying to do.
Yeah.
I didn't take the time to think about how great I am. Oh, look at that. I'm on the New York Times. I'm better than this girl. Oh, no one has done that since 1950. Blah, 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 blah. I ain't got time for that. I wanted to keep working. So anything that I did know about the headiness of being on the front pages of New York Times above the fold was told to me. And it was the same thing when I did that, because it would take Morris Robinson to tell this story. But when I was at the Met and before I even got the opportunity to sing my Aidas and I was covering, I was in a Sitzprobe, and a soprano was there doing her debut as Aida. And she had gotten ill, had a little allergy attack, and she said, "Angela, I'm going to have you sing for my Sitzprobe today." And I was like, "Yeah, right." Sure. So I always carry around my knitting and my crochet. And I sat in the front row anyway, because you mirror each other. So whatever you're covering the role of Aida, this is the Aida, you are the Aida. So you're right behind. So you have a straight look at the conductor. Well, she said, "Angela, I think I'm going to have you do it." I was like, "Are you sure?" She said, "I told you the day before, you need to make sure you prepare yourself." So I went in the bathroom, I got the warming up, and out the stall comes Renee Fleming. I was like, "Oh Lord, I done peed with Renee Fleming. Lord Jesus." So anyway, I was like, "But they got a job. I don't have a job." So I finished warming up, and I went in there, and she says, "I'm going to sing the first lines. If I don't feel like," because she didn't want to present badly either.
Right. Yeah.
And so she was like, "If I don't feel like I can continue on, I'll let you know." I was like, "Okay." She got up there. She was like, she sang the whole little first part. Then she sat down, looked at me, went like that. And so I stood up with blinders on, knees shaking. I remember my knees shaking. And Marco Armiliato, I believe that's the conductor's name. From that point, oh no, I sang all of Aida from 11 a.m. to the break at 2:30. Then at 11 a.m. to 2. Then at 3, the covers had to do their run through of Aida, because once you go in with the Sitzprobe, they're going on the stage after that.
Right.
So we had to do our rehearsal. So I sang Aida twice in that day, got home to the Bronx, turned on my phone. That's when Janet was yelling in the phone, "Angela, what did you do? The Met just called and offered you 12 covers or 14 covers with 2 built in for your debut. What did you do?" And the only thing I can say, and this, I'm not trying to sound cocky, I was prepared. That's the only thing I can say.
Ain't nothing cocky about being prepared. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So that's yeah. And I just never sit back and go, "How great am I? Wow, that was wonderful." It's nice. That's why we have, agents that can keep all your stuff, because it is fun to sit down and press play sometimes and go, "Damn, I did sing that shit." But while you're doing it, that's not my thing.
Amazing. And I'm so glad that you brought up agents, because it's so important. They are so important to us and to our careers and our lives. And your agent, Miss Janet Jarrell, has been, at least from my view and knowing the two of you, your right hand to the side, to the front, to the back, and up and over, around and in between. And that is an incredible relationship to have, and an important relationship to have, because with the type of career that you had forged from those moments, and then it turned international and you on 6 continents and you're doing this, somebody's got to come in and harness all that for you and help keep your feet on the ground.
Exactly.
And do all that. And so everybody, for the first time, I'm going to have somebody on here who's not Black. This is the first time.
She honorary. Honey, that's my girl.
She honorary. So for the first time ever on the Black Opera Live set, but it is so important to have her here because we're all about teaching and preaching the truth, huh? And it's about show business, or the business of show. And you've got to learn all of it.
Yes.
And I tell singers all the time, especially young singers coming up, you have to have a team of people who believe in you, who are for you, who have your best interest at heart and at hand.
Yes.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Miss Janet Jarrell. Hello, my dear.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'm so honored.
How are you?
I'm great. I've just sat here enjoying every moment of this and reliving it as Angela's telling it.
Absolutely. So tell the folks, where are you from and how did you get into the agent management business?
Okay, I'm gonna do this quick. So I am from Dublin, Georgia. That's my hometown, little Dublin, Georgia. But I did my undergraduate at Mercer University in voice music, and Phoebe settles there, and then I did a stint at Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it was at the time that this was all going on, huge concert series, huge music department with tons of choirs of all kinds, conductors coming in and out from all over the world, literally for sacred choral music.
Yes.
And I just kind of got baptized by fire there, met Diane Bish, who was the organist there. And fast forward, went to work for her at the Joy of Music, her international television program, and ran around the world with her, crawling up in the top of cathedrals and hanging wires and doing all kinds of stuff and meeting amazing musicians along the way. And it was there working for her that I knew that I love to sing. I've always loved to sing, particularly love sacred choral music. But I knew at that point that I wanted to manage. I wanted to be the champion behind these incredible musicians. And she was the first person that I had an opportunity to do that for. And then moved her Joy of Music program from Florida to Bloomington, Indiana, where we co-produced with the PBS station at Indiana University. I found out about the Master's in Arts Administration program there, and I knew that I needed, to know how to do this at a professional level, even though I was already sort of doing it.
Yeah.
I was majorly into the nonprofit sector for Joy of Music and doing the board work and doing all that kind of stuff. But I knew that I needed to go back and really get a professional degree in arts administration, which I did. And so to pay for it, I worked in the admissions office at Indiana University School of Music. It wasn't the Jacob School at that time. That was and that is where I met Angela Brown.
Wow. And so tell us, what was it about Angela Brown that said, I want to work with her, or we should work together? What did you hear? What did you see? What sparked it for you? Because I think singers are out there who are looking for agents and managers, How can I separate myself from the pack? How can I be seen and be heard and get on the roster of a great agency?
Well, Kenny, really, you do have to, the agent or the manager has to realize, oh my gosh, this is a talent that has spoken to my heart and my soul. It is somebody that I can put myself totally behind to champion them. And I'm willing to really be behind, not in front of, and a lot of times beside.
Yes.
But most of the time behind. And you're the cheerleader and you're helping that person. And so you have to hear, first of all, that this is an amazing gift, whatever it happens to be, whether it's an organist, a singer, pianist, violinist, whatever it happens to be, conductor. I can get behind this person. I believe in what this person is doing, what the things that this person is doing speak to my soul.
Yes.
And then that person has to speak to your soul.
Mm.
And the first time I met Angela Brown, I was turning pages for her.
Wow.
She was doing a recital on behalf of the School of Music at IU. And my father-in-law, Charles Webb, was playing for her. And he invited me to come along. I already knew about Angela because she had done these cattle calls and things. And I had worked the video player while Charles was watching all of these after the fact. He always watched all of the opera auditions when he was dean. Anyway, so I was already enamored with Angela's voice. And he said, why don't you come turn pages for me? And so I did. And we were in Indianapolis and I was totally taken. But we started a conversation. Angela and I started a conversation. And I don't know. I mean, I can only speak for me, but my soul connected to her. And I thought, I love this person.
Yes.
I love everything about her. I love her voice. I love the way that she is just Angela. Always. Sometimes there were times at times I was like, what is she going to say? What is she going to do? You don't always know, but she's always authentic, genuinely Angela. And here's the thing, Kenny, she let Janet be authentic, genuine Janet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was judged a lot from the South. You know, what does this girl know? What can she possibly understand? What can she? And Angela never. She just said, you know, can you work for me? And I said, oh yeah, I can work for you. So anyway, I turned the pages at this concert and we've got a lot of story here, but she can tell it too. She had received some money from a wonderful woman who was a great supporter of her career, Helen Bing. Helen had given her some seed money to do her first demo CD. And so Charles and Angela asked if I would produce it because I was in the midst, Angela, you probably don't remember this, but I was in the midst of producing a CD for the School of Music at that time too, a highlight CD. It was their first one ever. This is ages ago. And so Charles said, well, why don't you produce Angela's? And Angela was okay with that. So we did it. That was our first project together in 1995.
Wow.
And we just worked, it clicked. We worked well together. And, you know, and I always said, oh, I know there's going to be a time when you're going to want to go to a major New York agent. And I understand that, you know, I get it. I understand all that. And believe me, it did come up more than once. And we did work. We partnered with Cammie and IMG.
Wow.
At different points in Angela's career, and with Thomas Channel over in Berlin at different points in her career. And but every time we would visit it very candidly, very, very honestly with each other. And Angela would say, well, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And so we would just keep going.
And so that's very interesting to me, Angela. So if my mathematics are correct, that means you've been together for 26 years?
Yeah.
The two of you? Okay. So
handshake.
On a handshake. We've
On a
never
handshake.
Never had a contract.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
And let me say, I tell my students this. I teach music business, and I tell my students this. I say, now, because I have Angela on, she usually talks to my class at some point during the semester, and I say, and this works for us.
Yeah.
This works for us. That doesn't mean that works for everybody. There are great contracts with 20 lawyers in the room when they're signed, and there are great contracts, handshake contracts, when there's nobody in the room. It really depends on the level of trust you have between each other. I would trust this woman. I trust her with my children. I trust her. She is my family, and I trust her implicitly.
And so, Angela, how for you as the artist and going through 2.5 decades with the same manager in your corner for you, what is that like as an artist to say when these other agencies, big ones, come at you to either lure you away or make you want to change your mind? What is it about Janet that made you say, I'm staying, I'm staying?
It was the mashed potatoes.
Okay, baby. I knew that this woman right here will get in a fight with me. Okay, she would pull me out of the fight.
Yeah.
You know, she's always just been there, and she's been genuine. And I could tell her anything when we had to have those difficult conversations about changing management. Well, I'm not sure if this is working. I don't know if it's you or if it's me, but something ain't working, and then we will get in there and talk about it and keep moving on. It's the trust and the love. And like I said, like she said, you can't have that with everybody, because believe me, they came a courting with presents, expensive presents that I took, and I said, thank you, but I ain't going nowhere, I just felt like my career, even as I am morphing, into my second act.
Come on now.
That Janet knew me from a fledgling, and she would be the best to know how to help, how to move, how to grow. Because from our relationship, we have built so many other entities.
Yes.
Okay? And it's become this big conglomeration of beautiful opportunities, from not just Angela M. Brown Incorporated, which is everything musical, but there is Morning Brown, which we'll get into. There is Freddie Mae's Daughter. There is Melanated Moments in classical music. There's, it's all of those things that have sprung from our relationship, and we have just grown together. And it's been a beautiful thing. And I love her. She my sister. She my sister.
I love that. It's so important. And so for me, what I see is that you are an artist and businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have someone on your team who has businesswoman experience and how to navigate all of that, it seems very, very smart. And
because so it doesn't matter how much kumbaya you got, honey, we can still get in there with them numbers. All right, now what's going on here? We got, so we still do, we're very business, but we can relax a little bit around each other.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Always let me know. I mean, and we've never even had this conversation, but I'm the boss. I pay her. She doesn't, the money don't go to her and then she pay me. What kind of mess is that? No, I pay her. I'm the boss. I'm the reason why she works. But it doesn't, one hand washes the other.
Yeah.
No, it's just been very easy.
I will say that that's another thing I talk a lot about in my music business class when we're talking about artist management, is that it is my job to be an advocate at all times for my artist, even if my artist is wrong. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't go back to my artist and say, let's talk about this in private.
Right.
But we are a united front, and it is my job at all times to be an advocate and an ally for my artist. That means I don't accept things without asking first, and I turn down things without asking first. No matter how small it might seem, only one time did I ever take a job without asking Angela about it, and it's because the fee was, and I was like, I'm so afraid if I don't take this, they might hang up and change their mind before I can go on back.
Yeah,
that's it. One time.
She available.
And I was like, thank you.
I love it. I love it. So let's get into Act 2. So not only are you grand opera diva on stages all over the world, singing ballo and trovatore and aida and all of that, and then recitals and then sacred works and then new operas where, you put your voice and your stamp and your face on it for the first time. What goes into what Angela wants to create? What does the universe say to you? I want to do this, or this is right for me. And then when you get the idea, do you then go to Janet and say, let's make this happen? Or the opposite way? Does the job come and then you say, yeah, I want to do it. Let's do it. How does that work in your head?
2020 has been a very cathartic, revelatory situation for all of us. And I realized that I can have the great ideas.
Yes.
I don't always follow through. And if I have a partner in crime,
yes,
she can help me talk things out. We can put things, write things down, and then we can let it sit for a minute, and then we'll come back to it. We are always creating. There are like maybe 20 ideas on paper somewhere, that Janet and I have talked about, but it always has been a partnership type of thing.
Can I just say that Angela is the queen of dream du jour, the queen of the day. But here's the thing. They're all good dreams.
Yes.
They're all worthy. But from time to time, I have to say, Angela, let's focus. Let's focus.
Focus and stay forward.
Forward, focus, forward. Yes, but you know what? I keep everything. I keep all this stuff. And so she'll talk about something, and 2 years later, she'll go, what about so-and-so? And I'm like, I've got where we laid that out. Let me go find that email. We pull it back up. And one of the things I think that was so beautiful about 2020 is that we had content ready.
Yes.
We had content ready, and Angela was set up by the grace of God already.
Having an opportunity, preparation.
And so one of the things I saw that was so exciting is how you continue to shape your opera from a sister's point of view. And so you've added other voices to it. You've added younger, upcoming voices to it. Where did that idea come from?
That actually came from the beginning.
Wow, okay.
That I always intended to do. But I was wise enough to see that I have to get in there first.
Yes.
Get this little engine that could chugging down the road, a little bit. And then I had always wanted to be able to reach back and give back to my young Black opera singers. And with the Opera from a Sister's Point of View Generation Next, Cincinnati Opera and Opera Birmingham gave us the opportunity during the pandemic to actually do this show. Now, Janet, you might want to take over from here, but it was exciting to do. Tell them how it came to be.
So what happened is when everything shut down, it was just, I was paralyzed. I think we were all paralyzed for a moment, in shock. And we did something with Patrick McCoy online, and it kind of jolted us all into, you know what? We got to keep moving.
Yeah.
We got to keep moving. We got to keep creating. We got to keep figuring this out. We don't know how long this is going to go on. And then when all of the stuff, the horrific stuff with George Floyd and everything, it was just, and we said something needs to happen, healing. We need some, this is a time for opera from a sister's point of view, when we can actually put this out there. We can spotlight young Black or emerging artists and do something positive. Let's do something positive. So Angela said, yeah. So I crafted this thing and sent it out to my colleagues in the opera land. And immediately, Evans Mirages was the first one. He actually picked up the phone and he said, let's do it. And then Keith Wolf came on board, and then Mitch Rowe at Florida Grand. I mean, so there are others that have responded too. And it was, I mean, I like to say, opera from a sister's point of view, it draws the circle wide and makes everybody feel like they belong, either on the stage or in the audience or behind or backstage. You belong. And so, Cincinnati Opera was the first one to say, yeah, let's make this happen. And they chose these unbelievable singers. I mean, gosh.
They're rising stars. Dang. I mean, they're stars.
Right.
I'll take them. So,
right.
Reginald Smith Jr., Brianna Hunter, Jamez McCorkle, and Maria Okafor. Yes, I mean, blew us away, and it was, and that was a dream come true. I mean, I said, Angela, it's finally in the version that you've always wanted it to be.
Yeah,
because we had talked to many conductors and symphony orchestras, and they were like, but you know, sometimes it takes a pandemic.
Right.
They can see the vision of it, I think, or whatever, but with some reframing from the world, they saw the vision, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So talk to me, Angela, about now melanated moments in classical music. Talk to me about what this is. Where did it come from? What does it do?
Well, melanated moments in classical music is music that's for, by, and about Black people. Joshua Thompson, who is, he was the one that was originally approached. He's a music sociologist and pianist here in Indianapolis. He was approached by Classical Music Indie to do a podcast. The name did not exist at the time. And he says, well, you know, I can blurt out. He's a Black nerd. He says that himself. He said, I can blurt out about it. He's like, but we need, you know, let's see if Angela would be interested in doing this. And I was like, of course, you know, why not? And so we joined forces, and we are in season 2 of Melanated Moments in Classical Music. And it is a podcast that is far reaching. We go back to composers and librettists and musicians and arrangers and singers from way back in the day on up to present day. Yes. And we've had a good time doing it. And the next installment is coming up on Wednesday, and it's our great friend Moses Hogan. So,
fantastic. And listen, we on the same wavelength, because guess what?
What?
My good buddy, Jonathan Estabrooks, who does all the technical stuff for this show, we saw all the gorgeous pictures that you had. And then we were looking through the recordings that Janet had sent us. And we made a little pictorial video of a piece from your CD, Mosaic. And it's Moses Hogan. Hold your wig down.
Don't you get weary, walk together cheering. Don't you get weary, walk together cheering. Don't you get weary.
you get weary. All together cheering, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Gonna sing and never tire. Oh, sing and never tire. Sing and never tire. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, walk together cheering, don't you get weary. Walk together cheering, don't you get weary. Walk together cheering, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Gonna shout and never tire. Oh, shout and never tire. Shout and never tire. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, walk together cheering, don't you get weary. Sing together cheering, don't you get weary. Shout together cheering, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting, great camp meeting, great camp meeting in the
Dang, girl. Fabulous. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, indeed. Look at and all the folks chiming in. Yes, that's how the universe works, huh?
Right.
And that's one of the CDs that stays in rotation on my devices. It really, it's just so fantastic and inspiring. And so thank you for sharing that with me, Miss Janet and Miss Angela. And you know, you can get the whole CD mosaic. Go check out her website. The information is on this ticker tape below, and you'll be able to find it. And you can also get it through the website of the American Spiritual Ensemble. So go check it out and support. So this is fantastic. I'm so happy and excited about Melanated Moments. So you said the second season started this month, yes?
Second season started this month, and we were, as you've been seeing me drink out of this little mug, we were 2020 Black Podcasting Award winner of the Best New Black Music Podcast. So
congratulations.
When we got in, and we were very proud to say, yeah, thanks.
Congratulations. Absolutely fantastic. So now tell us about Freddie Mae's daughter. Tell us about it. Tell us about it, because these are talents and skills that I didn't know you had when I first met you. I knew you was knitting and crocheting and stuff in the corner, but this is another level, my dear.
Well, Kenny, you know, Freddie Mae's daughter is a tribute to my mom. My mom was a crafter. She was an artisan extraordinaire. Anything that she could think about, she did. From crochet to knit to, she was a visual artist. I have things around my home that are amazing that she did. This abstract she painted over here. She did everything. So I wanted to do it, the business used to be called It's a Diva Thing. But I wanted to include more people than, you know, if they think that they can only see themselves, I have to be a diva in order to wear it. No, you have to think maybe like one. But because everybody can't carry my stuff, I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
I love just creating. My main thing is fabric wrapped jewelry, because when I was traveling, I would get to a destination and honey, a set would have fallen out my costume jewelry, and I had to put some eyelash glue in there to keep it on there so I can go on stage. So I was like, let me find a way to do jewelry that can hold up to travel. Yeah. So fabric wrapped jewelry is what I came up with. This is one of my headpieces. You know, you having a bad hair day, honey, you just slap that on, you put your little piece on the back and keep it moving. I do a lot of neck pieces, one of a kind neck pieces. You're wearing one. You might want to, that's right, model a little bit. Yes, this is another one that I have created. And then I also do large collars. Okay. I got this idea from the Jesse Norman, Kathleen.
Yes.
With little feathers. Give you a little, what's her name? Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
I have longer neck pieces, and I'm doing masks. And I think I saw this material, Mr. Kenny. hmm And they're adjustable, so you can hang them around your neck. And when it's stranger danger, you put it up. But when the stranger is gone, honey, let it hang on around the neck. And I have, matching hoop earrings and bracelets. So yes, I have things. And then Miss Janet is modeling one of my neck pieces. It's actually for winter, and it's a neck wrap. And it's a one button situation. And she's got the earrings and all. So yeah, I've been just in here enjoying being creative and glad that the Lord gave me an opportunity and a mama to help me to be able to see what can be.
Absolutely. It's so fantastic. And yes, Darnella Thomas, she says she wants to buy.
Darnella, get in touch with me, boo.
Okay. So Darnella, all of these across the ticker tape here at the bottom, her website, or you can go to Morning Brown, or you can go to Instagram and follow her at these various pages. One for Freddie Mae's daughter, and you can see some of the styles that she has. Send her a DM or email or something. Yes. You can reach her and she'll get it right to you. I promise, because I am a witness. Because I got the neck pieces, I got all of them: winter, spring, summer, and fall. Yeah. So fantastic, and I love your creativity and all of the gumption, and you don't let no grass grow under your feet, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Exactly. Why?
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about Angela Brown, the woman. Can we talk about it? Because I love your husband. He's just so great and so fun and so fantastic. And for this particularly the artists out there who are either just starting or in the midst of it, and they're looking for love and wanting to find out, can I have it all? Can I have the career? Can I have the husband? Can I have the wife? Can I have the kids? Can I have all of that? How do you do it? How did you know that Blaze was the right one for you to do that with? And how do the two of you make it work together?
Oh, this is a beautiful question. Thank you for allowing me to speak on my beautiful relationship with my husband. And let me just say from the beginning, you can have it all, just maybe not all at the same time. Okay. And you have to be realistic with that. I was engaged like 3.5 times. Don't be judging me. 3.5 times, and I got rings, baby. Rings. All right. But it was like I was the one racing to the altar, and they was leaving me like this. Every last one of them broke up with me because it was not right. And I just said, because I would pray on them. I was like, Lord, if they're not right, send them away. And Lord, if he didn't send them away. I was like, I don't know if I meant that for real, Jesus. But, it was best for me because I remember the last one. I was crying to my mother on her deathbed. She was like, honey, God saved you. You dodged a bullet on that one. Because your parents always can see further than you could. So I ended up going to Paris, and Blaze was a dancer, and we met on the Paris Opera stage. And so that's a long story, beautiful story, but he knew about the business, and he allows me to be me. He doesn't try to change me. Now, he might have suggestions or whatever, ain't nobody walking around here just perfect, but he allows me to be me. And that's why it works. We allow each other just to be free, and we freely love one another. And when I got to go to work, I got to go to work, and it just works. It just works. It really does. He's a great guy. And as beautiful as he is on the outside, that's his heart. And if I got one girlfriend or guy friend that hits on my husband every other day, I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad that I know who him want.
Okay.
If y'all want to say he's cute, that's fine. That's fine. I'm all right with it.
Listen, he's a beautiful man. I could say that. Listen, he was modeling one of the pieces, and I was like, oh, I need the one that he's wearing.
And he has sold more things for me because he's wearing it. So yeah,
I love it.
great guy, great guy.
I love it. And it's fantastic. And it's such a blessing to have somebody that you can celebrate your triumphs with, and then somebody who is there when things ain't going so right. Because, this business of show can be fickle. She can be much.
Very much so. And as often as we can, we try to travel together. Because my dream, can I share my dream? Because
Please.
I've learned that even though I am in the act 2 of my career, I can still dream.
Yes.
And one of my biggest dreams is to be able to travel with him, and he be my road manager. And we go to these different places, and I perform, or I go and I'm giving master classes or whatever, that we get to travel, and maybe have a certain time of year that we would do that and have someone sponsor the trip. And, and we go. And that is one of my dreams, just to be with my husband on the road and do what we do.
You have achieved and made so many dreams come true for yourself through hard work, dedication, and just your sheer talent. And Oprah says that is the time to start dreaming another dream and a bigger dream. So I say, go for it, honey. Put it out there in the universe and let it work for you.
That's why I said it. I said, let me go on and say it. Let me not say too much. But
while we're right there, can I just throw in a little commercial then?
Yes.
To make that dream come true. We are taking opera from a sister's point of view on the road, next generation next. And we really are pushing it and want to do it at universities with schools of music. We want to feature their young students that are excelling, emerging Black young artists there. We want to do, and each version is going to be different. Each school is going to be different. We would choose repertoire appropriate for those young voices, ensembles, and that kind of thing. Angela will still tell her wonderful stories and weave it all together, and she will sing too. Do a master class with them, work with these students. And so that is part of the dream, is to be able to take it to the universities, and that way giving role models, new role models, not just for the schools of music, but for all the students in the university and the communities from those universities, to see these amazing role models on stage for the next generation.
Absolutely. I always say, if for young people in particular, if you can see it, you can believe it. If you can touch it and hear it and smell it and see, you can believe it, and it can be real. And our kids and our young people need to see that. Yes. They need to experience it, and they need to know that Angela Brown has been to the top, the pinnacle, and she's just as real and approachable, and you can do it too. You can do it too. So I want all of you university professors and deans and all of you, get on the phone and call Janet. And if you look at the ticker tape right now, that's how you find Miss Janet to make it happen. Okay, folks, no excuse for saying, well, I didn't know how to find this and I didn't know how to find that.
We can't afford her, or we can't. Honey, get on in touch with somebody, because you don't know if you don't ask.
Exactly. A closed mouth won't get fed. And during this last year, if for some reason you can't find great programming that features Black artists, then you've been asleep for the last 12 months.
Yes. Okay. Which I'll just do the Coda commercial. And that is that we also have opera from a sister's point of view for the next 6 months. We have a recorded version ready to go. It was a co-production with Indianapolis Opera and Classical Music Indy and the NATS Eastern Region Conference. We have this recorded version of opera from a sister's point of view that is dynamite, professionally done. And right now during COVID, what we're doing is Angela watches it with the group and then does a live Q&A after personally with them. So you can also have that. So get in touch with me if you want that, because we've paid for all the licensing and the copyright and all that stuff right now, the synchronization licensing. So holler if you want that, because it's fabulous.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Janet. Get out there, folks, and book.
Mhm.
Expose your students, expose your community, expose
Your groups.
exactly.
You can find yourself in opera. Don't think it's something that you cannot aspire to or understand or would like. Because when you think about, if you sit and read some of these opera stories, first of all, they're about peoples of the world, all different cultures. And that's who we are. So give yourself an opportunity to come on and get a little taste of opera from a sister's point of view. You won't be disappointed.
And I've seen the show and I can vouch for it. It's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic show. And folks, listen, being in opera specifically doesn't mean that you have to be the diva or the divo on the stage. There's 25,000 jobs that go into making the opera happen that you can be a part of to keep the arts alive. Talk about it. You can be the set designer. You can be the costume designer. You can be the wig and makeup artist. You can be the general director. You can be the conductor, the concert master, the front of house manager. There's so many jobs that make it all happen. You can be the artist manager that helps push the careers of the singers.
That's right.
So there's a place for you in the art, friends. There is a place.
Dang, baby, yes.
And our society needs the arts. Our society requires of the arts more than any other thing. When we are in trouble, when it's times of sadness, we call on music, we call on dance, we call on drama, we call on, if somebody's getting married, you need somebody to play the organ, you need somebody to sing.
Yes.
Somebody passes away, somebody's singing.
Mm-hmm.
A president gets inaugurated, somebody's singing. So our society calls on the arts. And so pour into the arts, pour into the artists, get out there and do it. And Angela is a prime example of someone who gives to the arts as well as she is an artist herself, creating great art. So wonderful example, my good sister. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad you agreed to come on with me for Women's History Month, because you're doing so much as a woman, as a Black woman, and giving back to your community and celebrating young singers without the intimidation of, are they going to take my spot? No, they're not going to take your spot because your spot is secured. You did that work.
I'm the mama. You know how your mama say, excuse me, I'm the mama. You ain't schooling me. Honey, I'm trying to give you some shine if you just put la bouche and let me tell you.
Come on.
Come on. I'm not worried about it. Because there's room. There's plenty good room in my Father's kingdom.
Come on.
And I don't have to be, big eye, little you, just come on in. Choose your seat and sit down.
Just to choose your seat and sit down. And so I wanted to play another excerpt of your incredible artistic career, because for me, there's one thing, well, there are many things that Leontine Price has said that really stick with me. But one of the things that she said that I try to model my career after, she said, I am triple faceted, three-pronged, if you will. Operatic stage performances, recitals, and as an orchestral soloist. Mm-hmm. She says all three are equal to me and have their place.
Exactly.
And you are another person who does that so incredibly. And for your manager to be able to navigate all three of those things, to book your recitals, to book your appearances with orchestras, in addition to your operatic stage performances, is a feat all unto itself. And so congratulations to the two of you. And so enjoy this orchestral excerpt of Miss Angela Brown doing her thing.
Oh, what is?
Girl, you better go on with yourself. Go on with yourself. And listen, Patrick McCoy said, give it to us. Listen. And she does. And I have had the honor, privilege, and pleasure of sharing the stage with her. And I'm telling you, when you share the stage with Angela Brown, you got to pull up. You got to pull up. You got to put your big boy drawers on, your big girl drawers on. You got to put all your big stuff on because Angela Brown brings it.
Kenny, you bring it. Thank you, because baby, I remember us doing that porgy together, and I haven't done very many besses, but that's when I was your best, baby, and I remember you sitting. I mean, we was in it.
We was doing it, and I'm so glad you wasn't married to Blaze at that time because he'd have beat me up after that show.
We was in it. Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it. Angela, my dear, I am so grateful for your time and your presence.
Thank you for having me.
As an artist, but as my sister friend. You know, one of the things that you said to me when we first met, or one of the times, early times, many years ago, we were in a car going from the Bronx to Long Island, and you were going to sing on a recital of our dearly departed friend, the great Randall Gregoire. And I was upset about something, and you turned around and you said, baby, what's for you is for you. And that nugget of advice has stayed with me for the last 17 years. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that you said it to me with the love that you did. And it's been able to sustain me through the most incredible and difficult of times. What's for you is for you. And I wish you all the dreams that you want to come true, that they come true tenfold.
Thank you.
And I am so proud and honored that, Janet, you came on to share your knowledge and your expertise about what it really means to be a huge support system in the life of an artist, both on a personal level and with your business acumen. You can't you can't swap out one for the other. And the fact that you have both, and it continues to lift Angela and helps her to share her gifts with the world on such a large, illuminated level, speaks volumes about who you are and your character, and what you also mean to the industry. And so I thank you for sharing your time and sharing Angela with us and her greatness as well.
It is my absolute honor and privilege and pleasure. I feel that I'm extraordinarily blessed to work for her and the other artists that I have too. And thank you. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. What a joy.
So glad you could join us. And
I'm so glad.
Y'all, because there might be something a little special that Janet and I have cooked up that we're going to be doing together. So we'll let you know. Stay tuned.
And listen, Angela is, speaking of cook, she cooks too. Let me tell you. And she creates and does. Listen, I can't wait till this pandemic is over so we can create some stuff together.
Okay. I tried to make something tonight. I was like, that'd be rude because everybody ain't going to have it.
Listen, I love it. And so everybody, listen, next week's show, same time, same place, Monday, the first Monday of April. I'm going to have on my cast of the new opera, fusion opera, I Dream, which is about the last 36 hours of the life of the great Martin Luther King Jr., in which I play the role of Ralph Abernathy. And this coming Sunday is the 53rd anniversary of his assassination. And so next Monday, we will celebrate him with the cast of I Dream, starring Broadway's Derek Davis, tenor Victor Robertson, soprano Allison Cambridge, mezzo-soprano Lucia Bradford, and our composer, the great Douglas Tappan. So please come back and join us next Monday with the cast of I Dream. And I love all of you for being here. And Angela and Janet, thank you so much. Don't sign off when we get off the air. I want to say thank you off the air. And everybody else, Take care of yourself. Wash your hands. Wear your mask, and get vaccinated when it's your time to go and get your needles so we can get back to work, huh?
Get a mask.
And if you need a mask, get in touch with Angela. All of these Instagram handles, you can reach out to her at Miss Angela Brown, at Freddie Mae's daughter. Check her podcast out at Melanated Moments. Check out her production company at Morning Brown. Go to her website. Go to Janet's website at jejartist.com. You can, don't say you ain't got the information.
Okay. You can find us.
Don't say there's no excuse for y'all. You ain't got the information. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Angela and Janet, I love you. Take care. Bye.